Happy Navam full moon day, everyone. Some of you have already observed 8 precepts, and some of you have observed 10 precepts. Navam full moon day, everyone. Some of you have already observed 8 precepts, and some of you have observed 10 precepts. Now we begin the morning Dhamma talk for the full moon day, and we invite the Devas to participate in the listening to the Dhamma talk. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajas Sunantu Saggamukhadang Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada Sachitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasanang Khanti paramang tapotitikha Nibbanang paramang vadanti buddha Nahi pabbajito parupagati Samano hoti parang vihetayanto Anupavado anupagato Patimukhe cha sangvaro Mattanyutacha bhattasmin Pantancha sayanasanang Adhichitte cha ayogo Etang buddhana sasanang ti. Today, earlier, when Venerable Sumana spoke to you, he mentioned that one of the major events took place during the time of the Buddha, which was on Navam full moon day, which was the establishment of Patimukha. Ovada Patimukha. Ovada Patimukha is different from Patimukha. Patimukha is composed after the passing away of the Buddha by 500 Arahants, when they got together at the first council, led by Venerable Upali, who was the expert in disciplinary rule for monks and nuns. So there's a large number of guidelines, 227 guidelines you found in the Patimokkha, and full moon days, when the monk get together since the time of the Buddha, they recite the Patimokkha, the whole rules, set of rules, and remind themselves about how to live as a monk or nun. What are the things that we should be doing, we should not be doing. These Patimokkha rules that you see in the Vinaya, and all the Vinaya rules are established by the Buddha during his 45 years of teaching. Whenever certain incident happen, when a monk or nun does something that they are not supposed to do as a monk, as a nun, then the story goes to the Buddha, and then at that time, Buddha says, monks, after this, you should not perform this activity, this action. This action, if you perform, is a grave action or like parajikas and apattis and all different levels of offense. What type of offense? This one is, if you do this in the future, this will be this type of offense. Certain offenses, if you commit, you cannot even continue being a monk or nun. You have to leave the order. But there are certain rules that you can always reprimand, meaning you can admit that wrong action was done because of my negligence. You tell the group of monks, and then the group of monks advise the monk who committed the offense, saying, okay, we understand that you committed the offense, but after this, you try your best not to commit the same offense in the future. And then that monk forget the fact that they committed the wrong action. Don't keep it in your mind, but you continue to be practicing meditation. Otherwise, it would be a hindrance to the meditation. Therefore, those kind of purification activities can be done when one monk or nun perform such a offense. That happened during the time of the Buddha. Every month or every 2 months, Buddha here, someone made a new offense, new mistake, that new action that monk should not perform, or monk or nun should not perform, and then Buddha established a rule at that time. But this is about Patimokha Sangvara. Or the Patimokha. Or the Patimokha is the guidelines that Buddha established before those type of offenses took place, were performed by monks during the 45 years. When the Buddha started teaching Dhamma for the first 5 ascetics, they were seriously committed to the practice. And their lives are always pure. And they were naturally following good lives, ethical lives. And then after that, slowly 60 monks join, and then Jatila monks join, and there were a large number of monks gathered and followed the Buddha. And at that time, Buddha felt the need, it is good if I advise these venerable monks about how to live properly. As monks, what are the things that you should do? What are the things that you should not do? In basic, as a advice, not as rules. So this advice was given on Navam full moon day, about 9 months after Buddha became enlightened. He gathered all the monks and he gave this advice, Sabba Papasakaranang, that we all know, most of the Buddhists know, Sabba Papasakaranang, Kusalasa Upasampada, Sachitta Paryodapanang, Etam Buddhana Sasanang. This is a very well known gatha. And after that, there are 2 other gathas followed by this first gatha. And I recited all the 2, 3 gathas earlier. Today, although it was the advice for monks, we should not think that this guidelines of how to live correctly is only for the monks or nuns, because all of us are followers of the Buddha. All of us are followers of the Buddha because of one reason. That reason is to attain perfection, meaning eliminate all our negative thinking and negative behavior, and finally become enlightened. So all of you who are listening to the Dhamma talk even today are not necessarily monks or nuns, but these guidelines equally applicable to us, just like it was for the monks and nuns. You have already heard Sabba Papasakaranang Kusalasa Upasampada. This is the Sachitta Paryodapanang Etam Buddhana Sasanang. This is the teachings of the Buddha. And we know that the teachings of the Buddha is not just for monks or nuns, although he gave this for the first time for a gathering of venerable monks. Even the nuns were not there. So, as Buddhists, we know it is very important to avoid akarana, things that make ourselves unhappy, make others unhappy. It's called papa. Things that are harmful to oneself, things that are harmful to others, akarana is not doing. That is always for every Buddhist. Kusalasa upasampada, cultivation or improve our skills, because we are very unrefined, ordinary people who has a lot of greed, a lot of hatred, and a lot of ignorance. If you look at the world and look at the people in the world, you can see how lustful, how greedy they are, including ourselves. How ignorant, how many general errors that we do in our lives that bring us pain and suffering. Us means myself and others. That is because we are not skillful in avoiding performance of harmful behavior. That is why we call kusala. Kusala means skills. If you have the skills of how to use the language, how to use the body correctly, how to use your thinking correctly, then we have a lot of skills. Because of skills, we avoid so many mistakes. But if we are committed to be better people, all the way to the point that we are enlightened, that means we don't do any errors in our lives through words, through the body, and through the mind. But we are not. So therefore, we have to start from somewhere gradually. Upasampada means gradually cultivating. What? Skills. Even as a carpenter, if you want to make certain furniture, if you want to make it good and useful and solid, you have to have skill as a carpenter. If you don't have skill, maybe you can put together a few pieces of wood and make something, but that does not mean that is a perfect product. But we are talking about not just being a carpenter, being a person, being a living being. Just like carpenter needs skills, we need to have a lot of skills to live correctly and efficiently, that is beneficial to oneself and beneficial to others. That is useful to my life, should be useful to myself and useful to others. If I don't have skills, it is very hard for me to live a useful and beneficial and harmless and efficient life. That is why in Buddhism, we constantly emphasize the fact that we need to cultivate our skill. That carpenter, when he started, he was not the best carpenter, but after a while, by cultivating, improving his skills, he became a better carpenter that produced much beneficial and useful and wonderful products. As a human being, if we cultivate our skills, we can live a very full, skillful, and efficient life. When we live our lives, there are so many other men, women, and children, and animals and things around us. If we are not very good at using our language, our communication skills, our physical skills, our behavioral skills, and our thinking skills, we could do a lot of damage to those people and other beings, including our own family and relatives and neighbors and so many other people around us. We could easily do harm without even thinking. Sometimes we do those things consciously, sometimes we do those harmful things unconsciously. But if we are very mindful, we don't do anything unconsciously. Every word we say, everything that we do is well thought about. But it is not easy because we are spontaneous people. We see something and we hear something and we feel something and immediately react to it. That is because we don't have the skills of responding to what we saw, what we heard, what we felt. That is why we need to cultivate upasampada to improve our skills gradually, little by little, step by step. That is what the Buddha had taught. Anupubba sikha. Anupubba sikha means you train yourself to do first thing first, and when you are good at that one, it is easier for you to work on the second thing to make yourself skillful in that particular area. If you train yourself to be kind and gentle and nice and compassionate towards your own mother and the father or the family members, gradually you can be nice to even a person not like your mother but never seen before. Your mother is someone who took care of you and who spent a lot of time with you, your family. But these people came from nowhere, but you are still nice to them, just like you are nice to your mom and dad and your family members. But you have to start from somewhere. That somewhere is the easy place. You start from the easiest place, and then you can train yourself to be doing more difficult task. You can be nice to your mother and father and your brother and sister because you spend a lot of time with them, a lot of things together. They take care of you, you take care of them, and you are used to it. But if someone who is harming you, it is not easy to be kind to that person. In this case, you have to increase your skill even to a person who is harmful to you, who is hurting you. Be kind and be nice. That's a hard one. But that can be done from the Buddhist point of view only if you gradually cultivate, starting from one place and go forward and keep cultivating your skill of being kind to others. Then finally you can be kind to a person who comes to harm you, who comes to kill you, who comes to hurt you. And people who are called enlightened ones, Arya Puggala, Sotapanna, Sakadagamin, Arahant, Anagamin, and Arahant, those are the people who have been training themselves step by step. First step is Sotapanna, second step is Sakadagami, third step is Anagami, fourth step is Arahant. So step by step, you at the Arahant level, the word Arahant is translated as perfect being. So perfection can be achieved by gradual training. Anupubba Sikha. Anupubba means first thing first, step by step. Sikha means training. Kusalasa upasampada. That's what the Buddha is telling these venerable monks. But we know that it is not for just those venerable monks who had become the disciples of the Buddha at the first few months of the Buddha's life after he became enlightened. Sachitta Pariyodapana. The third line is Sa means one's own, Chitta means mind, Pariyodapanang is cleansing. Our mind is cluttered with so many negative things called kleshas, defilements. We call it defilements. They constantly, our mind get defiled by seeing things, by hearing things, by reading things, by listening to things, by watching things. Our mind get cluttered and defiled. Defile means dirty. Dirty means not clean. Like if this nice tablecloth which is white, and when it is neglected sitting here, and after a while all kinds of dust get accumulated and all kinds of other uh, drinks and water and all these things can fall off, and if we neglect it, it gets so dirty after a while. Defilement is dirty in the sense that it is not clean, not that dirty that we call dirty man, that's a dirty person. No, that not in that sense. Dirty means it is so unclean. So our mind means basically our emotional state always carries so much anger. When we are growing up, if we didn't have a good childhood, if the parents were unkind to you, or if other family members unkind to you, you grow up not having enough food and clothing and shelter and other things, and then you accumulate so much anger and hatred. By the time you are a young person, you are a very hateful person, angry person. Everything you say is coming from that emotion, which is anger, and then it is harmful to oneself and harmful to others. And greed is same thing. Greed and lust, raga, is called lust, and lobha is another word that we use. Greed and that type of emotions are result of our negligence of the mind. When the mind is not properly shielded, protected, covered, all this dust, meaning negative things, come into our mind, and our greed become very strong. When anger and greed is so strong, we always see things incorrectly. Not as things they really are, but we see things as our mind shows us. Instead of seeing things as they really are. For example, if you give me some information, my mind translates it that this person is trying to harm me. But actually that person came to give you a very simple information that will be helpful to you. But I don't see it that way because my mind is so cluttered and impure. With the impure mind, if I listen to that person who is giving me a good advice, I take it wrongly. Then I get angry. Or I become greedy about things, lustful about things. This is a common problem of all of us because our minds are not well taken care of, well protected for a long time. So once you start practicing Dhamma, part of the practice of Dhamma, or the main part of the practice of Dhamma, is gradually cleaning that defilements that are in our mind, that are already settled. So this tablecloth I was talking about, And if this is so dirty, you try to clean it one time, but it is not that easy to get rid of all the things. And after you keep it washing and cleaning and using the right techniques of cleaning it, we can bring that cloth back to be a nice, clean, pure cloth. But if you don't use a proper technique of cleaning it, if you don't keep cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, it never gets cleaned. That is why in Buddhism, bhavana means, cultivation means, keeping the mind, cleansing the mind over and over and over, and after a while, your mind is even ready to be a sotapanna. Your mind is even become like mind of Sakadagamin, Anagamin, and Arahant. Why it happened? Because those enlightened ones kept cleansing their mind continuously. That is the most important thing. You cannot clean your mind for some time through meditation, and after another several years you neglect your mind without meditating or cleansing the mind, and it get all dirty again. One time Buddha mentioned about if you want to create a fire, you keep rubbing two pieces of wood, and then you think, okay, I take a break now and I start in a little while. So you put the two sticks aside and pick it up again and I rub again. You took a break. But meanwhile, that heat is already gone, and now you have to start all over. Sachitta Paryodapanam is exactly the same thing. Buddha mentioned that example for us. We cannot take a break. We can keep cleansing the mind until it is fully cleaned. Once it is fully cleaned, it comes to a point that dust does not absorb into the mind. Mind is so clean, so the unskillful thought, unskillful idea, harmful thought, angry thought, greedy thought come into your mind, and immediately your mind rejects it because it doesn't match with your level of refinement. So as soon as the negative things come, like we talk about lotus leaves. If you put something on a blotting paper, some ink or something, it absorbs into the blotting paper quickly, or cloth or something. But if come to a point that it has smoothed it and softened it to the fullest, like a lotus leaf, you put some water, the water moves around and it goes off the lotus leaf and never get absorbed to it. Sachitta Paryodapanam, cleansing one's own mind, is like that. Once you start following the Dharma, following the practice of the teachings of the Buddha, using the methods of cleansing the mind, that is the practice of various type of meditation techniques that we use as Buddhists, we have to continue to clean it, cleanse it, until we arrive at the point where it does not get dirty. That's a Sotapanna means a person who never get defiled again. You come to a point, okay, and after that you are set. But below that, it's so easy to fall back. Kanti Paraman Tapotitika, Buddha is talking to these venerable monks. Kanti Paramang Tapo. Tapo is austerities, enduring, mortification activities, tapas. You know the word tapas rakino, right? Tapas rakino means try to burn your negative emotions. Tapa is to be burned, actually, yeah? To practice tapas, mendicant is a person who is away from the family and too many actions and try to keep the mind peaceful. Then in this case, Buddha is saying, Kanti Paramang Tapoti, the greatest activity of austerity, enduring, Kanti, patience, Kanti Paramantapo, ultimate practice of tapas, cleansing, is Kanti, patience. If you practice patience, that is very highly appreciated by all. And Buddha is saying, if you are a follower of the Buddha, if you are a follower of the Dhamma, you have to put a lot of effort to practice patience and forgiveness and endurance. When somebody is harming you, don't get angry. That is Kanti. When somebody is doing something that you don't like, don't be angry. Just forgive and have patience. And Kanti Paramang Tapotitikka. There's not too much time to explain these things. The story of the Bodhisattva, one time, one king was so mad at this Bodhisattva who was meditating in the king's garden. King was mad at the person who is meditating in the garden, and he asked his soldiers to cut this person limb by limb. Cut the fingers and then cut the hand and cut the lower hand and then cut the upper hand and cut the different part of the body little by little, little by little, little by little. Don't kill him at one time, the king said. So this Bodhisattva is in training. He was thinking that I want to practice Kanti. Kanti means patience. I want to practice patience. Although these people are cutting my body piece by piece, the king ordered them to do it. I don't hate the king. I don't hate these people. I try to continue to practice metta towards these people. I try to practice patience and forgiveness. Don't get mad and don't hate back and don't curse them. So that's the practice that time the Bodhisattva did. Why did he taught all these stories to us? Because that is the example how we should practice patience. If somebody do something that create pain to yourself, just have patience and forgiveness and kindness practicing. And then Buddha was talking to the monks. Nibbanang paramang vadanti Buddha. If you are a follower of the Buddha, you should know your ultimate goal is Nibbana. Complete elimination of greed, hatred, and ignorance. At that time, your mind becomes so peaceful and so calm and so pure and so difficult, impossible for anyone to disturb your mind because you have already attained Nibbana. So Buddha is telling the monks, okay, your main effort is to work towards Nibbana. Nahi pabbajito parupagati. One thing that you have to remember as monks never take lives of any being, even an insect. Nahi pabbajito parupagati. Buddha is telling the disciples for the first time, okay, as if you are following me, if you are a Buddha follower of the Dhamma, you can never you never do take lives. Nahi pabbajito parupagati. Not only that, samano hoti parang vihetayantu. Not that you take life of someone, but you don't even make other people's life difficult intentionally. We can make other people like difficult. And people say, I gave him the hell. So that means I gave him the hardest time possible. And they are proud about it. But if you are a Buddhist, you know that you cannot hurt anybody's feelings, give any hard time to anyone, make everybody's life easier and better is the thing that you should do if you are a Buddhist, if you are a Buddha's disciple. Anupavado anupagato. How do you do that? Don't even complain to them. You did this, you did that. I can't believe that you did this. That is upavada. And you tell everybody, this man is like this, and he's such a bad person, and now this person hear it, and he becomes it's so painful to him. Everybody think that I'm such a bad person because that such and such a person is constantly complaining about this and about that. Anupavada, upavada. You did this and you should be punished. I would take you to court. And that is the thinking that we have normally if somebody does something wrong. when we hear that so and so committed that crime, we want that criminal to be punished. And then we gain some joy after that person is punished. But from the Buddha's point of view, no, you cannot punish someone. Anupavado, anupagato is punishing someone. Then he said to the monks, these are some of the Patimokkha's guidelines of monks. Patimokkhe cha sangvaro. So you have to be trained in these Patimokka, these wholesome guidelines of a wholesome, healthy, normal person. And then Buddha says, if you are Buddhist disciples, like all of us are Buddhist disciples, mattanyuta cha bhattasmin. Very good advice, good guideline, not a rule, but a guideline. You have to know how much you can consume as food. You have to have your limits. Matta means limits. New means to know. Know your limits in eating. Just because food is available, food is there, don't keep eating. You only need food to survive. And once you have enough food to survive for that day, that hour, that month, stop eating. Don't keep eating too much. Mattanyuta cha bhattasmin, because of the fact that you keep eating too much, all kinds of physical problems, health problems also arise to anyone. Monks are supposed to be healthy, and knowing the limits of how much you eat is very important part of keeping your health. Mattanyuta cha bhattasmin pantancha sayanasana, dwelling its solitude. Always don't try to hang out with your family and friends and all the people who are having fun and partying. No, try to be peaceful. Try to stay away from excitement, because excitement misguide you. So therefore, try to stay calm and solitude in a peaceful place. Don't pick up the phone and call every day. There's no solitude, no peace of mind for you. So, pantancha sayanasana, adichitte cha ayogo. Engage in constantly cultivating higher consciousness. Adi chitta. Higher chitta, actually I call it emotion, no? Any chitta is emotion. That emotion is a friendly emotion or hateful emotion. Either way, that's a chitta. So metta mettena chittena, metta sahagatena chittena, dosa chitta, moha chitta, raga chitta. Raga means sensuality, emotion of lust, emotion of greed, emotion of anger. Adichitte cha yogo. What is the adichitta in this case? Metta Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. Those are the Adhichitta, wholesome emotions. Engaged in cultivating Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekka. You have all know about these four emotions. That's Adhichitta, higher level of consciousness or higher level of emotions. Yoga means engaged in cultivating. Etang Buddhana Sasanang. This is the teachings of all Buddhas, not only me. Before me, there are 5 Buddhas in this Bhadrakalpa. Kakusanda, Konagama, Kashyapa, Gautama. All these are previous enlightened ones, the Buddhas. Before that, even in the previous kalpas, you can go all the way up to 24 Buddhas and 28 Buddhas and so on and so on. So now another Buddha is coming in this Bhadrakalpa. Bhadrakalpa means this is a beautiful eon. Why it is a beautiful eon? In this eon, there were 5 Buddhas come to this world and teach Dhamma. But after the Bhadrakalpa is gone, Abhadrakalpa is not beautiful. Kali Yuga. No Buddhas for a long time. Dark period. In that period, if you are born in the samsara, you are still in the samsara, you have no guidance. Everybody is killing everybody. Everybody is hurting everybody. That kind of society you are going to live in when there is no the teachings of the Buddha available in the world. Dharma is not available in the world. So there are some kalpas, means some periods. A long kalpa is a long period of time. In this long period of time, if there's no Buddha, those people and those beings are so unfortunate because they don't know anything about peace and peace of mind. They all hate each other and kill each other and take advantage of each other, and that is the time of absence of the Buddha. Buddha would only come when the people are actually ready to listen to and ready to improve their life. Kalaya, Deepaya, Desaya, Kulaya, Mataya. So there are 5 things that they look for when the Bodhisattva descend to teach the Dharma in the human realm. So if there's no Buddhas, it's not a beautiful time for beings who live in that period of time. That's a long period of time is called kalpa, not 10, 15 years or 100 years or century like that, but this is millions of years is kalpa. So this kalpa was a Bhadra kalpa, and we had so many Buddhas. Etam Buddhana Sasanang. We have 5 Buddhas teaching this Dhamma in this eon, and this eon is a eon that a lot of people are basically not as bad as in some other eons. So in other words, that we are sort of lucky that even not Buddhist are basically good people. But there are so many bad people in the world. But compared to other kalpas where there are no Buddhas, this Bhadra kalpa we have 5 Buddhas. All the people and other beings that we meet, we are living around, are actually good people. So today, this is the end of the Dhamma talk now. Buddha Gautama the Buddha gave this Ova the Patimokkha advice, not Patimokkha rules, general advice. This is how we should train ourselves to live. That's an advice. Not that you should not do this. If you do this, this is a great offense. If you do this, you will be expelled from the order. Those are rules, but these are advice. So today, you were very fortunate to be a part of Navam Full Moon Retreat, even at home. Now this is by listening to the Dhamma, by observing 8 precepts and 10 precepts and making offerings to the Buddha, you generated so much merit. Let us share this merit with all our deceased family members and relatives and friends, whoever they are and wherever they may be born at this time. May they be happy and joyful by receiving the merit that we generated, especially through listening to this Dhamma talk. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Let us also share the merit with all the devas, thinking by receiving the merit that we are sharing with them. May they be happy and joyful. In return, may they bring additional protection to all of us in these difficult times and make sure that our lives are safe and secure and wealthier, good enough food and other clothings and other things for all of us. With these thoughts in our mind, let us share the merit with all the devas. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu loka sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu no sada. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. By listening to the Dhamma, you generate a lot of wisdom for yourself. By the power of the wisdom, may you be able to understand more and more of the teachings of the Buddha. That means understanding of life. And finally, may we all attain ultimate peace, which is Nibbana. With these thoughts in your mind, please say sadhu, 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 sadhu. That's the end of the Dhamma talk. And Bhante Sumana will come in few minutes. In 10 minutes, 10:45, 10 minutes from now. And then you can sit in meditation for sometimes with Venerable Sumana. And then we have the Buddha Puja. And after the Buddha Puja, we have the lunch break. And then 1:15, we have the Dhamma talk in Sinhala. That is also given by Venerable Sumana. At 1:15, remember to come back to listen to Dhamma talk in Sinhala. And after that, we have 2:30 Dhamma discussion. If you have any questions, you can still email it to the temple address, abstemple@gmail.com. Okay, now you can take a short break and have a cup of tea or take some rest.
New link. After we stop this one telecast. Ini kan link sampai ini kamera.
Betul dah. Sekian baru mana?